Hey, Shark fans, this is Melinda with another episode of Main Street Moments. And today in the studio with me, I have Mr. Tatum Shappley, who is a local musician. Thank you so much, Tatum, for coming into the studio to talk to us today.
So happy to be here. Thanks for asking.
Now, you are one of those rare people who has gotten to be a musician for a living for most of your adult life. Is that correct?
That's right.
Did you play music all your life?
No, I sang all my life for as long as I can remember. I didn't get into music as far as learning the ins and outs of it until later on. I got my first guitar when I was probably 12, 13. Did not take to it immediately. Found out it was harder than what everybody made it look like. You know, you see the people playing on TV, they make it look really, really easy. You get one and you can't do anything with it. So I laid it down until I was about, 18, 19. I went to Northeast, the program they have called Campus Country. I got in that and really started back with music. Now, I did sing, like I said, I sang locally here for Miss Shirley Lockhart and her First Monday thing she did with the cloggers and the singers and things like that, but no instruments until later.
So, did you always feel like you would be a musician as a career?
No, didn't even know it was a career. I sang. I liked it. I remember singing all over the house when I was little. But it wasn't until, like I say, 18, 20 maybe, that I thought, I could do this, for a living.
Now, we're going to talk about COVID, being a musician during COVID, but before COVID, let's just take this back a year. Mm-hmm. What would a normal month look like for you?
I think I worked it out one time I don't know what it works out to a week, every week, but I would play about 200, a little over 200 dates a year. So that maybe 16, 17 dates a month sometimes. So.
Okay, so 200 nights or days or whatever a year, you are doing your thing.
On average, yeah.
And for the most part, do people call you up and book you, or do you go out in search of?
It's both, because you have all sorts of different kinds of things you can play. There are the club gigs and restaurants and things that are repeat gigs, places you play once, twice, 3 times a month. Then there are the others, like a wedding, a rehearsal dinner or a birthday party or a corporate event or, something like that aren't repeat, they're just one-offs. But, you make a relationship with those people, and, if they ever have anything else, you may, get called back. So, and you have that happen a lot of times. So, and you also work with agents too, if you want to. And they're kind of in charge of where you go. You just kind of have to agree to that, and you go where they send you.
So I've traveled around the state with my job a lot, and more than once I have walked into a restaurant and seen your name in chalk as the entertainment for the night. So you travel around.
I do.
Give me some ideas, like where all have you played?
Well, venue by venue is probably too long, but my normal circuit of places that I play, I guess mostly, would cover Tupelo, Jackson, Tennessee, Jackson, Mississippi, Oxford, Starkville, sometimes in Nashville, sometimes farther south in Mississippi, Alabama, a little bit in Arkansas. So it's kind of within the southeast, and then you get the occasional farther than that. Maybe I've gone down to Florida a few times and farther over into Arkansas, most Texas before, Louisiana. So that's not as often. That's usually a private thing, but it does happen. That circuit of kind of around here would be what I normally play.
Now, you've played with a band, different bands, and you've played solo. For our Shark listeners who might be thinking that they might try this, music as a career, can you tell them some of the good and bad about both?
Sure. Well, the good, obviously, you get to do something that you love to do, and you can't put a price on that. You don't necessarily feel like it's all work all the time. So if you get to do something you love to do, it doesn't feel like work. So that's a good thing about it. A bad thing about it, I guess, is you don't have the same type of schedule as everybody else does. I'm lucky in my situation. I got a wife and 3 children, and I'm fortunate enough that I can take them to school, go get them, do some things because I'm at home, during the day. Now, of course, at night, you're gone a lot of times, so you miss that time. So it actually evens out more than you think it would. It's just kind of flip-flopped as to when everybody else would normally be home and doing that thing, that routine. Yours is kind of flipped.
You just have to enjoy being a night owl.
You got to enjoy being a night owl, and since I've been doing it so long, I'm used to it. That's just I don't know what I would do if that wasn't my schedule.
Do you ever write your own songs?
Sure, lots and lots and lots over the years.
And what do you do with them when they're written? Have you recorded?
Yes, I've been involved with several projects. I was in a band called Undertow years ago, a band called Bliss, a band called Busted Screen Door. All of those had original projects. And again, I write all the time. I record them and I keep them, and eventually sometime would like to do my own EP or something like that, or just my own stuff, because all the other recorded stuff was as part of a group or a band or something like that. It's not really all my input. It's, a little bit of everybody. So I would like to do that. But yeah, I write a lot and I have those. I keep those recordings for a later time.
When you write a song, is it usually funny, sad?
It's anything.
Oh,
it's
okay.
whatever it is when I write it. It's not I don't know. It's a lot of people have their own way of writing. Some people may sit down and say, I'm going to write this kind of song. I don't do that. I write whatever I want to write at that moment, whatever hits me. So some may be funny, some sad, some uplifting, upbeat, not so upbeat.
I always ask every songwriter that comes in, do you do lyrics first or do you do music first?
Well, it's different. That's the boring answer, but that's different. I mean, sometimes you'll think of a cool line and you want to write around that, or maybe you're just strumming on the guitar and you like what you just did, so you try to put something with that, some words with that. So there's no rhyme or reason to it, or at least with me.
Well, let's talk about COVID, because everybody who works in the entertainment industry has struggled since March. Tell us what it's been like for you and what you're optimistic about coming up.
Devastating when everything shut down. I never went back and did a hard count of what I lost. I think it was probably half or 2/3 of what I had down. So it was hard. Thankfully, you could do a live stream on Facebook or Twitter or whatever social media. There's so many now, but you could do a live stream and you have really, really good friends that chip in. And, because you can e-tip, PayPal, Venmo, Cash App, things like that kind of help you float. But it was hard. And then, it hasn't been that long that things have been back, to some sort of normal, at least as far as being able to go somewhere and play. Late July, August, I think it took before I could ever get my book steady again. But it finally did. And going forward, you can just hope that we don't have another shutdown, because it'll be that all over again. And, just kind of take it a week at a time and just fingers crossed, hope that, we get over this and don't have to do that again.
Well, tell me about what you have coming up in the next month or so.
Well, let's see. Well, tonight, actually, when I leave the studio, I'll be going to Tupelo to play at the Lone Star Schooner Bar. Play there tonight at 7 o'clock. This Thursday, I'll be at Rafters in New Albany, Mississippi. Friday, I'll be at Sydney's in Pontotoc. And Saturday, I'll be at Smith in Corinth. And I don't know beyond that because Joyce took my phone, and that's where my calendar is.
So, all right, let's just take Smith
Okay.
in Corinth. When you show up for a night, what's it look like? What all goes into it?
What goes into it? Okay, well, you got to get there about an hour and a half early, unless you to avoid just having to bust your butt to get it, set up. But about 90 minutes usually before a gig starts, you get set up. You just got to have that much time because you just don't know whether you're going to have to wait on tables to be moved or wait. You don't know. There's just so many variables that go into it. You can't just go in and
assume all the equipment's set up.
Right. Nothing ever goes, it's just like anything else. Nothing goes like you planned for it to. So get there about 90 minutes, set your stuff up, get a sound check. At that particular venue, I start at 8:30. So start at 8:30. I'll play until, in a normal hours circumstance, that place goes until, just before midnight. So I'll play 3 sets usually, 2 or 3.
Till midnight?
Till midnight, roughly.
Ooh.
Roughly, which that's with a break or 2 in there. Just it's up to me as to whether or not I take one longer one or a couple of short ones. And then the not so fun part of the night is you got to break all that stuff down and wait for people to get out of your way and lug it down steps because their place is upstairs, so that's always no fun. But lug it back downstairs and you're back home. For me, I'm usually back home probably 1:15, 1:30 a.m.
So, so it's like you truly are a night owl. You're up
Yes.
in the night, like
On a night where I'm playing in my normal circuit of places that I play, probably 1:30, 2 o'clock back home.
it's just occurred to me that when this program actually airs, all the shows you just mentioned will have passed.
They will have been.
That's okay. That's okay
Yeah.
though, because do you keep your calendar up on a website?
I do.
All right, let's tell everybody that.
My website is TatumShappley.com. That's my name.com. You can go to upcoming shows on that website, and I update it month by month. So all the rest of January's dates are on there, and toward the end of January, I'll have all of February's posted and so on.
All right, Tatum, if you were able to talk to one of our Shark listeners, they're 18 years old, and they were considering being a musician for life, give them your best tip.
The best tip. That's tough. You got to be sure you want to do it. It's hard to tell an 18-year-old because all of the things that he's doing it for when he's 18 won't be the same things he's doing it for when he's 30 or plus. So you're going to have to work hard at it. You're going to have to be good with people. You're going to have to build relationships with people if you want to keep working. You always have to be at your best. If that means, you can't go play the same thing every time you go play. You're going to have to keep it fresh, whether if you're just doing it as a cover musician or even if you're doing it and you're writing your own stuff and you're fortunate enough to be playing your own stuff at a place. You got to keep it fresh. You have to be interesting. You have to be engaging. And I would say it's work. And if anybody tries to tell you differently, you tell them to go do it and then come back and talk to you after, because it's more of a job than a person would think. And if you're going to try to do that, you're going to have to know that.
Keep that job mentality there.
Yes.
Okay, everybody. This is Tatum Shappley, who is one of our loved local musicians in North Mississippi. Go to his website, TatumShappley.com, and check out when he is going to be playing in a local establishment that you like to frequent. And let's all hope that we can be out frequenting those establishments soon.
Absolutely.
Tatum, thanks so much for coming into the studio.
Thank you guys for having me.
And Shark fans, you guys have a great rest of the day.
This program was pre-recorded at